Hey Morgan, this week we're talking about just different spiritual disciplines of prayer and Bible study and journaling, that sort of thing. So, how did you view those types of things in the past? Like, what's your background with all that stuff?
Well, I've always been really good with prayer. I'd like to say better than reading the Bible and things. I could always just sit down and have a conversation with God. Opening the Bible was a different story. It was more of a challenge for me. Spiritual discipline was, of course, hard, but prayer was always the best way that I could connect with God.
Awesome. So that was kind of one of the things you were able to do
Mm-hmm.
early on. So, what about more recently? Like, what have been some things you've experienced, challenges, things that have worked well for you, end result? Just kind of talk through some of your experience from there.
Well, knowing that I was better with prayer than I was with reading the Bible, I wanted to improve that more so that they were kind of balanced. I had a lot of things coming in as I was praying and stuff too. And I've realized that writing things down is a really good way for me to be able to understand the Bible more. Writing a passage down and then thinking about it and writing down how it applies to my life and things like that. I have a journal journaling is really good for me. I write things down, the things that I want to pray for, the things that I want to invite God into my life in, and then passages that I feel are necessary to remember and things like that, important and hit home. And the coolest thing about that is the fact that after you write it down, you can go back later and see how God has really affected that. So if you write down, hey, I want to pray for this person, and then a couple months later, you go back in the journal and you're like, wow, God really worked here. Look how awesome this is now. So that's really cool to be able to see. Sometimes it's hard to remember months back, oh, I think I prayed for this one time, things like that. But if you write it down, it's there, it's solid in writing, and you can just really see it better. And that's a really awesome and powerful thing, seeing how God affected your life real.
Yeah, definitely. What's one of the, has there been anything that makes it hard to do it consistently? Like, what are some of the challenges, or what makes it hard to kind of get into a rhythm of doing this on a consistent basis?
Well, we all know that life gets in the way of things. Just having the time for it and then the energy for it. The best way would be, I think, and the way it was for me, is finding a specific time of the day that doesn't change. So you wake up, on some days you do some things, on some days you do other things. But for me, I'm always in bed at a certain time. I have a bedtime, I have to be in bed. So say I go to bed at 10 o'clock, I'd go in earlier, and that section before I go to bed would be God time. So having a specific time to do it kind of eliminates the problem with not having time for it.
Right.
And then with the whole energy thing, you're gonna have to want to do it. You want it to happen. You want that relationship to grow. But sometimes when that's not there, you kind of just have to force yourself to do it. Even though it's really hard.
Right?
Yeah, it's just you know what? You need it. You know you need it. You don't want to do it, but you need to because it needs to be done. And then after you get into it, it's wow, this is why I did this. There have been many times when I really just don't want to. I just want to go straight to bed. But I've done it, and then I'll read something or I'll realize something, and it's I should have done this. This is why God had me do this tonight, because I needed to hear that. So.
Nice. Well, I definitely keep hearing, I didn't really say this word, but almost just having to be intentional about it. You have to kind of set out to purpose to do that, maybe even make a plan or have a time. Otherwise, life's going to get in the way. It's going to be easy to just that's going to be one of the first things to go. So that's awesome stuff. What would be the coolest thing you've experienced through, this is the whole process of study or prayer or journaling or any other discipline like that? What's one of the coolest things that's happened because of that?
There have been a lot of situations recently that I've found myself in that I've continuously brought prayer into and wanted to pray about. And now at this point, all of those things, God has really worked in each of those situations, and whether eliminated the problem or turned things around or helped people in some way that I didn't even know was possible, those situations have eased. And so looking back in my prayer journal and like all of the things that were hard and things like that, and now seeing that they're so much lighter because of God and praying and all of that, and that's just really awesome.
It is awesome. Very cool. Well, we appreciate you sharing, and yeah, have a safe trip.
Thank you.